Hey there, it's me Eden. If you are new to the channel, then please subscribe to my channel and visit my Patreon page for early access, link in the description. I was shocked. How did he know that name for me? He obviously saw the concern on my face. Sorry, I was just reading your necklace. I put my hand up to my neck to feel Anita's presence still there. And I heard Anita say your name when you hurt your nose. I felt myself blushing, but managed a thin smile. You've got potential too, he told me. Will you be coming down to practice more often? I glanced over at Anita. She smiled at me and then turned to Jerry. She might, I'll see if I can convince her. Good, we could always do with new players, he responded. Well, I've got to go now, I've got a training session to do. See you later.
Bye,
Anita said, and watched him walk across back out onto the courts. Once he was out of sight, she leant over to me conspiratorially, and smiling said, he fancied you. He did not. I replied indignantly. He did, she insisted. That'll make you unpopular here. All the women fancy him, even my mum. I felt myself blushing and refused to make eye contact. Well, I knew you were good looking, but I didn't think Jerry would fall for you. He's used to all the girls here flirting with him, but he's never shown much interest. I think he's got a regular live-in girlfriend, but it looks as if you've broken through his cool. He was just looking for new players, I mumbled, still looking out of the window. If you say so. Anita replied, raising her eyebrows in disbelief, and still smiling. I took a sip of my coffee, not wanting to talk about whether Jerry fancied me anymore. I was relieved of this possibility by the arrival of Anita's father. He looked as hot and bothered as I felt. Carrying a towel, he came over to us. Have a good game, he asked. Yes, not bad. Anita replied. Are you two not having a shower? He asked. No, Anita replied. We'll have one at home if that's all right. Mr. Robinson shrugged. Whatever you want. I'm going to have one though. I'll see you in a minute. When he had gone, Anita winked at me. I didn't think you'd want to shower here. They're communal. I nodded in agreement. It seemed I could fool most people that I was a girl even as skimpily dressed as I was at that moment, but naked in the shower would be an entirely different matter. We continued drinking our coffees, and made some small talk about people we knew at school. After a while, a freshly showered Mr. Robinson came back, and we left the clubhouse for the car. Arriving back at Anita's house, I was ushered upstairs quickly by Anita as soon as we arrived. You have your shower first, she said to me. I'll sort you out some stuff to change into. I was hot and sticky, particularly under my wig, and did not object to this arrangement. Nothing too silly, I mumbled. Of course not, Anita replied, smiling at me. By the way, take your wig off to wash your hair. It must be really yucky under that. It is, I replied. But don't forget to run the water of the wig a bit as well. It needs to look wet when you come out. I nodded. What about towels? There's some in there, Anita replied. Oh, and wrap one around your head, and one around your body if you can, just in case my mom or dad are around when you get out. I looked at her, confused. Well, you'll be taking your bra off, won't you? She asked me. I realized then the significance of what she was saying. For the first time in a day I would be boobless. Oh right. I see what you mean, I said. Go on then. See you in a minute. I went into the bathroom and carefully locked the door and leant against it for a moment, then I took off the wig. My hair underneath felt and looked like straw. My head felt strange for a moment. I had had the wig on for over 24 hours, even sleeping in it, and the sudden liberation caused all sorts of odd sensations on my scalp. I scratched my head, and felt the sweat on my scalp and hair. Quickly I removed the skirt and knickers as well, checking myself over. I was relieved to see that in one respect at least, I was still male. Then, with more difficulty because it was so tight, I took off the top. I pulled the socks from my bra, and struggled to find the clasp at the back of it with my arms. I pulled and tugged to no avail. The bra seemed determined to stay on me, and my arms began to ache. I wondered whether I should call Anita to help, but looked down at myself, naked apart from the bra, and decided against it. I tried to reach the clasp again, but to no avail. I considered whether I could take a shower wearing it, but realized that would then mean wearing a wet bra, which did not really appeal. Suddenly it occurred to me to take the shoulder straps off my arms, and turn the whole thing around. Once I had done this, I could see the clasp, and although it wasn't easy, I managed to undo it. Again, there was a really strange feeling as it came off. I still breathed shallowly, used to being restrained, but there was something of a feeling of liberation. I understood for a moment why women in the 60s had made such a thing about burning their bras. Then, looking down at myself, I gasped in shock. I had bra marks all over my chest. The straps had left red lines from my chest up to my shoulders, and the cups were outlined around my nipples. I was horrified. Perhaps I had been scarred for life by the damn thing. I walked across to the mirror above the sink, and tried to see what I looked like from the back. I could see a thick red line running under my arms, and, although I could not contort myself to see, assumed that the lines continued around and met in the middle of my back. How long would these lines last? That's what I wanted to know. Shuddering, I decided to ask Anita once I had had my shower. I switched the shower on, checked the water temperature, and stepped in. It was quite a relief to be able to wash my hair, and massage my scalp that had been trapped for so long. I rubbed myself down with soap till I was covered in bubbles, and then let the falling water drive these off. It felt good. I stepped aside from the water, and then remembered that I was supposed to have made the wig wet as well. The thought of having to put it back on again was hardly appealing. Back to my male self, albeit briefly, I was reluctant to even think about having to dress up as a girl again, especially so quickly. Then I thought about Anita's mom and dad downstairs, who thought a sweet girl called Sarah had slept in their daughter's bedroom the previous night. I would have to do it, however much I didn't want to. I picked up the wig and waved it under the streaming water before turning the taps off. Then, drying myself, I managed to tie a towel just above my chest, with a knot where my cleavage would be. It hung down and covered my manhood just like a dress. I sighed deeply. My brief moment of looking like a boy had passed too quickly for me. I remembered Anita's advice about wrapping a towel around my head. I had seen girls do this before, producing an effect something like a turban. Try as I might, I was completely unable to replicate the effect. The towel fell down in front of my face and flopped onto the ground. I decided in the end simply to bundle it on top of my head and make the best of it. It was only a brief dash to Anita's bedroom after all. I looked at the tennis dress and knickers on the floor and decided I ought to pick them up and take them through. Holding these, the wet wig, and trying to clasp both towels in their respective places was a challenge, especially when it came to unlocking the door, but somehow I managed it, and looking more like a random bundle of towels and clothes than anything else, I dashed across the corridor towards Anita's room. Glancing around the hall and the top of the stairs, I was relieved to see that there was nobody about, all that effort for nothing. I pushed Anita's door open and rushed in, shutting it behind me. "Oh hi," she said brightly. She still had her baggy t-shirt and tracksuit bottoms on, and was rummaging through some drawers of clothes. "I've sorted you some stuff out." It's on the bed. Clinging for dear life to the towel around me, the one on my head fell off. She looked at me despairingly for a moment, shook her head, and then smiled. "You didn't put that on very well, did you?" she observed. "No," I agreed. "Well, dry your hair off, and then you'd better put the wig back on." There was a hairdryer on the dressing table. I walked over to it and picked it up. It was shaped like Snoopy the dog. "Where shall I put these?" I asked, holding up the tennis outfit. "Leave them on the floor. We can take all the washing down later," Anita replied. I let them fall and sat down on the stool by the mirror. Flicking the switch on the Snoopy dryer, I began to dry my hair. Anita continued to sort stuff out from her drawers, paying little attention to me. It didn't take long for my hair to dry, and I switched the dryer off again. "I'll have my shower now," Anita announced. "You can get dressed while I'm in there," she said, indicating the clothes on the bed again. I looked at them. I recognized the denim skirt I had been wearing the day before. There was also a pink sweater, and beside these, the pink knickers they had made me try the day before, a pair of tights, and a new bra, with the cups seemingly standing up of their own accord, with pink lace etched around them. I shuddered again. There was also a plain white mini slip and a second pair of knickers that I had not seen before. "Do you think you'll be able to manage?" Anita asked me, "Is there anything you want me to give you a hand with before I go for my shower?" I looked forlornly at the clothes on the bed. Reluctantly, I had to admit to myself that I could probably manage to put them all on quite easily apart from one. "I don't think I'll be able to manage the bra," I said, flatly. I had a lot of trouble getting the other one off to shower. Anita smiled. "They can be a bit difficult. I'll have to show you later on, when you need to take this one off." She picked it up from the bed. I looked down at myself, remembering the red marks the other one had left. They had faded quite a lot, I was relieved to see, and were now pink, just a few shades darker than the rest of my skin. "Do these marks go?" I asked her. "What marks?" I traced the ones around my shoulders. "These, where the bra has been." "Oh yes," she said reassuringly. "Don't worry, you won't be stuck with those for life." "Thank God for that at least." She smiled again. "Come on then, let's get this bra on you." I walked across to her and undid the knot on my chest, carefully rearranging the towel around my waist. "You look like a boy doing that," Anita announced quietly, still smiling. "Hold your arms out." I did as I was told, and she slipped the straps up my arms until the cups were in place on my chest. She was close to me now, and our eyes met. Hesitantly I leant forward, and pressed my lips to hers, and we kissed. "Now stop that," Anita said teasingly. "I told you we'd talk about it later. Now turn around please." Pleased with myself, I did as she asked, and she fastened the bra behind my back. "Did you keep the padding?" she asked. I looked at her with a confused expression. "The socks," she exclaimed with some exasperation. "You need to be the same size today as yesterday, otherwise goodness knows what my mom and dad will think." "Oh, yes," I replied. I bent to pick them up from the floor where I had thrown them with the tennis outfit. As I did so, the towel slipped from my waist. Frantically, I pulled it back up and stared at her wide-eyed. She was smiling again. "Well, let's hope you look a bit more like a girl when I've had my shower." Please subscribe my channel for the next part. And visit my Patreon page for early access.